Will and Basil here from Grayson Hobby. Today we got a new quad in the works here. This is the Tiny Hawk FreeStyle from Emax. And it took me forever to actually think about that because there's like 17,000 tiny somethings from Emax now.
This is 2S.
This is 2-cell.
Only 2S.
But it uses two 1-cells. Not to be confusing.
What do we mean? You gotta watch to find out.
If you liked our videos, please be sure to subscribe below. And I can't even focus because of what he's doing right now.
There we go. There we go. It's very hard to juggle quads.
Stay in school, kids. Stay in school.
All right, in this video, we're gonna go over the specs and all that good stuff, unbox it, go outside and fly it. We're gonna let Will behind the sticks. I think you earned that. And then we're gonna do a range test because why?
Basically on the Tiny Hawk S and the various Tiny Hawk models, people have said the onboard receiver has limited RSI range and all that. So we want to check it just to see if it's something in the radios or in the quad, etc.
And this range test is very, very unscientific. We have no measuring equipment. It's just me and Will with the camera and a radio. So if you want to see anything scientific, like always, if this video you find it useful and helpful, hit that subscribe button and be sure to support Grayson Hobby. If it's a pack of props, batteries, quad, jumper
Every
radios,
little bit helps.
Everything. Everything ships from right here, right?
Mm-hmm.
Located right outside Atlanta, Georgia. It's usually about 2 days to the entire east coast of the country.
Also check out our Facebook group. A lot of tech support, help, stuff like that. We got a pretty good little community.
Yeah, everybody's helping each other out.
Everybody's been really good, very helpful in it.
Well, who is this competitor and why they need to come out with a new quad if the Tiny S is awesome?
Well, basically there's guys that are flying this on 2-cell. They're flying in the backyard. They want the power. They don't need the guards. This is a great indoor racer, not as much outdoor because it's, you know, the guards are going to hinder performance a little bit.
Gotcha.
This is where guys that want to do a micro freestyle, they want to fly something fun, lots of power, but still areas where people, you know, will be hesitant with big quads.
Gotcha. So it's probably, you could say, definitely a step up. If you're comfortable with the prop guards and you're not crashing, then it's time to
If you're smacking every branch you can on the way, this is still a better quad because exposed props, small ESCs and all that, if you get caught in trees and you're still new at it, you're going to end up burning up ESCs.
Gotcha. All right.
So this is definitely more for, this is not your first quad, that's for sure.
Gotcha.
So here's what we have. What's in the box? The quad, bag of goodies, 1 battery, 2 battery, a bag of props, some Avons, 2.5 inch, some stickers, and this thing that no one uses. That's what
paper manual.
Yeah.
And one more thing I see in there.
Oh, and a charger. Look at that. I didn't even see that. A 6-bay charger for USB, like for computers and power. Manual, quad, props, screws, hardware, and a set of stickers. This is the Tiny Hawk FreeStyle. Basically, Emax took the guts of this guy right here, the Tiny Hawk S, that you'll see, that everybody knows about now, changed the motors out, soldered the speed controls directly, and put a new frame on it. Regurgitated electronics from Emax onto a new frame.
Would that be called a toothpick?
I guess it would be kind of like their toothpick, maybe.
Okay.
Not really. These motors are not plug-in motors. These are solder-in motors. They still have the factory plugs on the board, so the board is interchangeable with the Tiny Hawk S.
They have the plugs on the board, but they soldered it directly? The motors?
On the motors, yeah. The motors are soldered directly on the end pins.
Why did they do that?
Because there's probably a lot more current going through these connectors. Enough about the Tiny Hawk S. Back in the box.
Here we go.
From the outside in, we got a Tiny Hawk 1103 7000 kV motors. They feel really good, so that's a nice little motor. They're using 3 screws on the bottom to secure it. It's a C-clip holding the motor on the bottom, so they're not like press fit motors like that, so they should hold up. They do have the bolt-in screw holes here, so you can push on props or screw them in depending on what prop you're using. The camera is the same as the Tiny Hawk S, a little CMOS camera.
Is that a name brand one or is that just generic?
It's just their generics.
All right.
The USB ports on the side here is really easy to get to. It is vertical, so you gotta be careful when you're plugging in that you're not, you know, hanging the cable and breaking the board off. If you have a 90-degree USB cable, that might be a nice little thing to have there. This does have a little capacitor on the side.
That just looks so exposed. I don't know if you can see that.
Yeah, but they did that on other models and it wasn't a big deal. They put shrink tube over it, so it's kind of protected from any prop strikes in a way, I guess. Board is rubber dampened, so it's isolated a little bit. Soft mount it. Pretty low profile. It's got a little VTX. It's the same. Again, if you know any of the specs on the Tiny Hawk S, same thing.
All right. So what's the maximum milliwatt on that?
It's just a 25 milliwatt VTX. It does come locked. You do have to unlock it just like the Tiny Hawk S.
So it's locked?
They come locked, so it's 37 channels, something like that.
Oh, so the channels are on.
The channels are locked. VTX is permanently locked at 25. There's no change in the power.
So unlike some other models, you can unlock different wattages, but you can't unlock this one. Okay.
Correct.
All right.
So one thing on this one, I'm not really too crazy about. This is the series connector they did. The reason they did that is so you can use all your 450 milliamp one cells left over from your original Tiny Hawks, etc. These are, they're very cheap batteries. It's great and all, but you do need 2 batteries in order to operate it. It will not power up on just one.
Strictly a 2S, right?
Yeah. You might be able to maybe run a jumper like the Mobulas have and make it run one cell. I doubt it. It probably won't perform very well. But plugging in a battery to either port, not going to work. Plug into both, and you got power.
Okay.
So this is set up to run 2 cell. I kind of wish Emax would have done just an XT30 here, and then come with the adapter with an XT30 on the other side.
Right.
That way, yeah, you could use this with the adapter, but I think most people are just going to chop that off or desolder that and run an XT30 and run like a GMB 452 cell. Okay. If it was me, I would do that.
Right. We get asked a lot. I don't want to digress, but we get asked a lot of times, and that GMB right there.
Oh yeah, speaking of GMB, so aftermarket batteries for it, I don't know if you guys noticed, they look a lot alike. So the batteries, if you want to spend less money, the GMB 450 one cells, they are available and you can get those. Nice little addition, but the factory batteries are available as well.
So receiver is installed.
Yes, it's a SPI receiver, D8, D16, just like the Tiny Hawk S.
FreeStyle.
It is FreeSky integrated.
So if you have a Spectrum,
you would have to solder to the pads and put an external receiver on. Yeah, but the cool thing about this though, there's enough room in there, unlike the Tiny Hawk S, to where you could put an aftermarket receiver under the board or something like that. So that's not bad. That might be actually something we do a video on, is how to change from FreeSky to Spectrum, FlySky, etc.
So let's put some props on, okay? The magic. Oh, that was not planned. What size props? You may mention that earlier. But
these are 2.5 inch props.
All right, so it looks like these are the Avon Emax. Duh. They're pretty good props. We put those on a lot of things.
It's a lot of prop for 1103. 2.5 inch prop. I actually would like to see how this quad flies with like a 2-inch prop. A 7,000 kV. If you remember back in the day, like the Aurora 100s and all that, they were similar kV at 2-inch props, much heavier. Yet they flew fine with a similar 452 cell. So I think that might actually be, this might be one of those quads that you can run, the 65mm 2 blades, like the toothpicks have, or press on, or even a 2-inch prop of some sort. So I think you have a good diversity of prop in it, but definitely if you're going to go 2.5, I would not go anything more than these Avons, because if you run the risk of drawing too much current. These are only 5 amp ESCs integrated on this quad, so any bigger prop or more aggressive of a prop in 2.5 inch, you're likely to just burn stuff up.
So how does it handle the wind? Do you think? It's about to pour rain out there.
It's pretty windy out and about to rain, so
that's perfect time to fly a micro mini quad.
I want to see what the weight of this is. With props on, 52.6 grams. With batteries, 77.3.
About the rain, I think every time we try to do a video, we set time away, it rained.
Let's do it. Oh yeah.
All right, first impressions.
Oh, it's locked in.
Nice and smooth.
Yeah, I'm getting some more noise in the video than I'm used to. Could just be the channel's dirty. It might benefit just change the channel. I'm just running a Race Band 4 right now, but I'm sure if I switch channels that might actually clear up. Could be the environment we're in.
Okay. So again, everybody asked how far they fly, how far is the range, and everything is dependent. It looks like it's a leaf in the wind, man. It looks so smooth.
Yaw is locked in, roll's locked in. There's no bounce or anything on it. Wow. Yeah.
Now we just had a storm of some sort blow through, and it's not that bad right now. In terms of wind, the trees aren't going everywhere, so I think we're okay with the wind. But although, all right, what are you feeling? What are you feeling?
It's feeling good. It's feeling real good.
How's that power?
Power to weight's pretty good. Got decent punch out. It's not the fastest thing in the world. It honestly reminds me of a very locked in, and I always reference to this because this is one of my favorite quads coming back in the day, the Aurora 100 from Eachine. I loved that quad when it was running good. It was just a good 2-cell quad. But it kind of reminds me of that. Similar camera quality too.
So how's that tune?
They did a great job. The rates were stupid high out of the box. for most people that are getting into it. But again, this is more of a, it's a freestyle quad. It's not designed to be, it's not the Tiny Hawk S. It's not for like beginners and simple stuff. It's a freestyle, so it's gonna have high rates all around. Very nice.
All right, let's go around the building and see what our range is.
All right, I'm already like 60% RSSI. How's my antenna? Yeah, okay. All right, so I'm gonna go around, getting some video breakup around the building. I'm completely behind the building up high.
Oh, I heard.
And oh, my video is scrolling from going so low.
There you go. All right, I see.
You're not gonna fly around an all metal building while sitting under an all metal building edge again.
So the range test, if you guys see, we're actually a metal building, and we flew it behind the metal building.
And there's an awning right there that we're completely...
So we flew it. Probably that's a good test, really, because if we do that to every quad, and this is the first one I remember having a low RSSI warning that I remember.
Battery voltage is sitting about 7.4 at about, we're at 2 minutes 50 seconds in. I mean, it is extremely smooth, man. I'm gonna have to give Emax mad props for this thing. If it, I mean, the battery dipped about 6 point something under load. Did it punch out 6 point, oh yeah, it's yelling at me. I'm gonna try to squeeze 4.5, see if it dies. For you guys.
Another popular question we get asked is how...
Oh shit.
All right.
And that's when you crash at 4 minutes 11 seconds.
All right, well.
Time to find it. That's how cool those motors are.
Those motors,
for that bigger prop.
I mean, the props are almost hotter than the motors. So they're fine.
All right, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take this one right here that hasn't been flown or anything like that. I'm gonna go ahead and bind one radio up to it, check the range, and then I'm gonna bind my other radio.
Ooh, fancy.
Yeah, fancy. So what I'm gonna do, they're both in FreeSky D8. I'm gonna bind, and then I'm gonna do range test.
Okay. And we're not going crazy range. We're just gonna basically get a number. And this is a good part on how to bind your tiny freestyle.
There is a bind button right down there. After it's powered up, you'll see the LED flashing. Push the bind button. Blue goes solid.
All right.
Telemetry recovered.
So now we're bound.
So now we're bound. I'm looking at this sucker, and I am seeing stupid low RSSI right next to it.
We're at 50% RSSI.
65. Antenna within hand's length or so is 56. Just move around this area here. 60.
60. So we're getting
interesting. Now check that out.
Yep.
You see 60 there?
Uh-huh.
What do I see on my radio?
76, 78. So you're at 10% off, it looks like. Yeah, that's showing.
So beta flight, it could actually be very skewed in here. The scaling could be wrong.
All right.
But let's go ahead and move across the room.
All right.
Tell me what it says on that screen.
Oh my lord, it says 34 right there.
Okay, so I just hit the 40%, 45% threshold here. I'm currently at the door touching the employees only sign.
Wait, you're touching the door and I'm reading 35% at the door.
Okay, without, here, let me stand so I'm not in front of it, in between it. Between 40 and 45. So I'm between 40 and 45 at the door here.
And I'm at, well, it was at 30, whatever. We're gonna rebind it, right? Mm-hmm. To the QX7 S from FreeSky.
So when we're next to it, let me put it, I'm gonna quads in the same spot. Let me connect this back. We're still dealing with 60% here, 76 here.
Now does that say 50? 62. Oh, there we go. All right, now it's
sorry, the backlight. Okay, so the RSSI is dropping because I just put it in range test mode. It takes a second on this one.
So 60% over there, and we're showing 53%.
10% difference.
Yeah.
Oh no, 65, 50. So it's about 10 to 15% variation.
Which is exactly the same. Now over there, when you went to the door, that was like in the 40s, and this is, I can't read that from here. Put the light on.
Oh, you can see that from here?
Looks like 45. That's exactly
it's
what.
Staying more consistent in that 43, 45. It bounced up to 50.
Stay right there. Stay right there. I'm showing 35, 37, 39, 40. So it's right on the same.
I'm right about 50. So it's slightly higher in range test mode.
Yeah.
The skewing is still consistent. Yeah. So there could be something wrong with the scaling for this receiver in beta flight settings. Not sure, I haven't dug into it yet because I think they're just running an analog RSSI.
All right, so the range test we just did proves that
just factored out any possibility of the jumper multi-module being like
really bad,
the cause of low RSSI.
So we proved the true QX7S and the jumper has just this quad has just a low range between the both radios.
Well, the RSSI might be skewed. I mean, it was showing pretty good on the radio itself.
Right.
Just moving the antenna out on a zip tie, kind of like what they did here on the VTX, could probably help as well.
Now, is this a showstopper? No way.
No, I just flew it around the building where I couldn't see it, and it was fine.
The point of this is we're not trying to dog it at all. We're just showing you and letting you know it's not a long-range quad.
Yeah, we're not bashing. It actually flew really good.
Flies really good, yeah.
I would actually say if you're looking to get into a Micro FreeStyle and you're not good at tuning and you just want something that's going to be good, if they all fly like this, then this is one to go with. I mean, there's no need to tune this other than set your rates.
Right. Props.
Modes and rates.
Yep.
I'm probably going to change mine to where it's an XT30 on this adapter and an XT30 plugged in there. Yeah, I'll add a little more weight. I don't think it's going to matter this quad. But for the off event that I'm actually using the one cells again, I'll have that for that.
So now we're going to crash it into the wall and see how it handles.